Welcome to Mallory Park in the heart of Leicestershire. It's the final round of the championship. This is ThundersportGB.
Yes, hello and welcome to Mallory Park here in Leicestershire. It's the final round of 2012 and luckily most of the rain clouds seem to have steered clear of this wonderful circuit. The home of ThundersportGB. We have 4 races to bring you here today. Championships still very much up for grabs, and first up on the roster is the Morello Services GP1. Can the former champion Peter Baker collect his 2nd title? He'll become the first ever ThundersportGB rider to collect 2 titles in this class, but he's got quite a field of riders facing him today. Number 81 there, Luke Stapleford, a regular British Supersport competitor on pole position. Next to the Ram, John Ingram, number 56, again a regular in the British paddock. He's been to a couple of Thundersport rounds this year, particularly when we've been at Mallory Park or Donington, and there's a regular Mallory visitor, Mark Littler, number 47 from Burntwood on the Laser Process BMW, and then 4th on the grid, last year's Super Stock 1000 champion, Ian Mackman, who's still mathematically in with a chance of winning this championship. Number 30 there, Ian Mackman on the Chemtile Kawasaki. So the riders to look out for championship-wise on the 2nd row of the grid on the blue and white Suzuki, number 4, Peter Baker. He is the championship leader. He can wrap it up here with a decent result. Really only needs to finish in the top 3. Also keep a beady eye out for number 19, Mike Dickinson, the South African. It's the last time that he'll be racing in this championship, and racing full stop for a while. After 25 or so years of racing, he's going to be hanging up the levers, but into turn 1 we go, and it is John Ingram that looks to have the advantage into turn 1. This long right-hander at Gerrard's. Full grid here of GP1 machines, which are effectively power bikes, tuned 1000 CEC engines, and then we have the super stock class. But into Edwin as we go, and it is John Ingram that leads ahead of what looks to be Luke Stapleford up there. Peter Baker not off to a bad start either. There's James Boswell at the rear of the pack. It is Stapleford in 2nd. Mike Dickinson got off to a decent start also. There's number 22, Richard McNeil, riding a 600, so he'll be down on power, as will Luke Stapleford, I should just point out, in 3rd. Mark Littler in 4th, Peter Baker in 5th place. There's also a Super Stock Championship to decide here, folks. Look out for 111, Alex Heaton on the Night Road Racing Ducati, the orange, white and purple machine a bit further back. One decent result here, and he could be crowned the champion after a superb end to this 2012 season. Mike Dickinson has got himself into the lead now, the South African, who's been in such good form since Rockingham, really, as they exit Edwin as though. There's Peter Baker, number 4, doing exactly what's required of him, and there's Phil Crow. Good to have Phil back with us, the 2010 GP1 champion. A runner-up last year, but has just suffered with injury and bad luck all year long. He's here to try and wrap up top 4 in the championship overall, but he cannot affect the leaders. There is Mike Dickinson, the leader, ahead of John Ingram. Luke Stapleford doing a good job on board the Kawasaki Supersport 600 machine. And then that's Peter Baker in 4th. That'll do. That will do at the moment for Pete Baker, provided he finishes above Ian Mackman here. He will be crowned the champion. In 2008, the inaugural year of ThundersportGB, as there's a change for the leader as Ingram takes it. Gary May won the opening GP1 championship in 08. Baker then won 2009. It was Crow in 2010 and Robertson 2011. And Peter Baker, who's over the 50 mark now in terms of years out of age, but he's been fighting fit all year long, racked up the race wins on the Morello Services Suzuki, which is also the sponsor of the class itself, and it looks like he's on song here to wrap up the crown in 2012, wheeling the Suzuki out of Devil's Elbow and onto the start-finish line. There is John Ingram that leads from Dickinson. And then in third place, that looked like it was Luke Stapleford. I'll wait for confirmation of that as they head into Ed Wieners. Phil Crow still suffering with injury, but it is Ingram that leads from Mike Dickinson, and it is Stapleford in third. Dan Hegarty also out there, number 8, doing reasonably well. As they exit Ed Wieners now. There's Kyle Wilkes, I should just point out Kyle Wilkes out there on a Kawasaki, who did so well in the Superstock 600 race at Brands Hatch a couple of weeks ago in the final round. Where he has come on, leaps and bounds, and won this race in inclement conditions here yesterday. There is the AL joinery machine of Mike Dickinson onto the start-finish straight, trying to fend off Luke Stapleford, the 5th championship rider, but so far, so good for this man, Peter Baker, on the blue and white Suzuki. Currently number 4 on his bike. That's courtesy of finishing 4th in the championship last year. And it's looking like it's going to go his way. Further back, Alex Heaton is just inside the top 10 and is first in the super stock category, having a good scrap with Chris Barnes. This is one of the rare races this year where we've seen actual GP1 machines and not super stock machinery. Most of the GP1 bikes all in the top 10, so they're really showing off their power. Of course, you do have the exception of the 2 600s out there. John Ingram there doing a fine job out front. The only rider that's almost clipping into the 51-second lap times, and that is going some. Lap record in this class of 51.5, Sam Lowe's, no less. And then further back, that is number 74, Jimmy Nixon, just outside the top 20. But here comes the Ram, John Ingram, number 56 from Wigan, on the Gadget Box Honda. A very versatile rider. Most of the Thundersport rounds he's entered this year, he's won. He came to a couple of rounds last season and certainly had some decent scraps with Phil Crow, but as I mentioned before, Phil Crow not really up to full fitness, and we're hoping to see a bit of Phil again next year when he comes back, and we'll no doubt try and win this title back. Across the line there goes Ingram though. There's number 76 and number 7. 76 Jason Byard and Adam Robinson on Ian Mackman's championship winning bike of last season. And a Ram here coming up to lap what looks to be Jimmy Nixon already. Luke Stapleford has moved up to 2nd place in the race, and is that in 3rd place it looks like Mike Dickinson. Peter Baker is on a roll. There is Baker. In fact, Baker's up ahead now of Dan Hegarty and Mike Dickinson, and there is Ian Mackman. So as things stand, Peter Baker will be crowned the 2012 GP1 champion. Here comes John Ingram out of the bus stop. Look at that lead. That's pretty much 5 seconds, I would say. 2nd place there for Luke Stapleford on the Kawasaki. And the last lap flag is out. So it's looking like 1st and 2nd are almost decided. 3rd and 4th, certainly not. Peter Baker, well, he doesn't want to do anything too silly here. He doesn't want to get involved in a scrap with Dan Hegarty. He can ill afford a crash. But this is good enough for Baker. And what a year it's been. He's won so many championships. He didn't start racing until he was into his late 30s. And since then has won so many club championships. And you have to say that he is just out and out the club champion. There's nobody I've seen like it that's been able to come into championships and dominate them like Peter Baker, but it's on circuit. Certainly this day belongs to John Ingram on the Honda, around the outside and onto the start-finish straight to take the checkered flag. John Ingram wins here at Mallory Park, and that was pretty easy work for the Ram. He takes the win ahead of the Profile Logistics Kawasaki of Luke Stapleford in 2nd place. A good effort there on the 600. Peter Baker 3rd, but more importantly, he is the champion of 2012. Congratulations to Pete. And there are the 3 GP1 heroes on the podium. John, Luke and Peter. And the Super Stocks, another congratulations to Alex Heaton. He's the champion of the Super Stocks ahead of Chris Barnes and Matt Shelcock. Championship standings then, confirmation. Baker wins it from Mackman, Dickinson 3rd, Heaton in 4th, and wins the Superstocks.
The Morello Superstock 1000 winner today and champion Alex Heaton. A brilliant win for you there.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant weekend, brilliant season. I had a bad start to the season, but once I've managed to get on a winning streak, I've managed to keep it up and end up being champion. Have you got a highlight of your year? I'd probably say here, like last time, it was a turning point where I managed to get 3 wins and I managed to keep it up for the rest of the year.
Excellent. Have you got any sponsors you'd like to thank?
Yeah, there's loads. I'd like to thank Alan and Charlotte and my dad for all the hard work they did on Friday, because the engine blew up and they managed to get it back together. I'd like to thank Phil Crow for lending me his bike for qualifying, because I wouldn't have been anywhere if it weren't for him. There's all my sponsors, Motoretta, Design Course and everyone else. Big help.
Well done, Alex. And winner of the Morello Thundersport GP1s, John Ingram. An excellent win, you must be chuffed with that.
Yeah, it was pretty hard work, that race, to be honest. We were supposed to come here this weekend on a different bike. I just picked the Honda up from Stafford on the way here, thanks to Lester from Gadget Box. Cracking race though, arms was absolutely aching halfway through, I was pushing on, but a good win. I'd like to say thank you to the Pallet Brothers, who's helped me all year, and also Steve from Morello. He's helped us bits and bobs through the year, that's been a big help. Thank you.
Well done, John, thank you. And champion in the Morello Thundersport GP1s, Peter Baker. You must be over the moon with this.
Yeah, very pleased. We won it in 09 and back again. Absolutely fantastic. Bike working really well. In fact, we're actually still on the same bike as we won in 2009 on, so I think that might be time for a change and a new bike for next year, so that's something to look forward to.
Well, we're excited to see what you've got next. Any sponsors you'd like to thank?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously Steve at Morello Services, long-term sponsor of the GP1 class as well. Big thanks to him. You got Pete the Red Cat and Tony Stannard Motors, Stuart from SM Roofing, and there's lots of others. I know I've tried to remember them all. I'm sorry, but thank you all very much.
Thank you, Peter.
Massive well done to Peter Baker. More racing still to come here on Thundersport GB though, so join us straight after the break.
Moped, sports bikes, you save watts. Any bike, it makes no odds. We will give you what you need. Best price always guaranteed. Come to us and get a quote. You'll be singing note for note. Walk away with cash to spend on anything you want, my friend. Bike Insurer. Bike Insurer. Bike Insurer.
Get the cheapest bike insurance, guaranteed, only from the Bike Insurer.
The Morello Services Thundersport GP1s on the grid here at Mallory Park in Leicestershire for the final time of 2012. It's late October. It's amazing that it's all come to an end. On pole position should be Luke Stapleford, but maybe not made it to the grid just yet. John Ingram there, number 56. Second place, of course, a regular British Championship runner. There's Mark Littler, number 47. And a regular Emperor runner knows this place well. There's Ian Mackman on the Kental Kawasaki, last year's Superstock 1000 champion, this year's Thundersport GP1 runner-up. On the second row of the grid, you'll see in 6th place Peter Baker, and finally Luke Stapleford there, number 81, makes it onto pole position, of course, on the Profile Logistics Kawasaki, a British Supersport runner, so a number of British Supersports and Super Stock contenders on this grid, but this is effectively for the big bikes. So Stapleford is up against a lot of 1000cc machines, GP1s, which are effectively power bikes, against Super Stock riders, 1000cc stock machines. And Peter Baker was crowned champion earlier this weekend, number 4 on the Morello Services Suzuki, a rider that won the championship first with Thundersport back in 2009 after a good battle with Gary May, you may remember, back in 09, and then in 2010 and 11 he was battling away with Phil Crow and Mick Robertson, and then this year with Phil Crow having not managed to really put up a fight due to a number of injuries. Baker has seen off the advances of Ian Mackman and has taken the championship again. And surely, certainly in big bike terms, has to be the most decorated club rider I think I've ever seen. Peter Baker, he turned 50 a couple of years ago and still fit as a fiddle. And you can see he's sporting the #1 plate there, just in about 6th place. Phil Crowe is back racing again after that injury. There he is, number 71, just a couple of places up ahead of Pete Baker. There is Baker up ahead of Kyle Wilkes. There's number 8, Dan Hegarty. Dan on the cross lane garage Kawasaki. The Bingham rider started most of the season with Thundersport and has been dotting around in various British Championship races, but at the moment leading the race, Luke Stapleford, number 81, rider from Colville on the Profile Logistics Kawasaki. He came here last year in the race of the year and put on a good show actually, fighting with Sam Lowes and James Ellison. And just at the moment he's up ahead of the Ram, John Ingram from Wigan on the Gadget Box Honda. There's Kyle Wilkes there on a super stock bike, just moves up a place. Here's Matt Shelcock. Nice to see Matt out there. He's moved up onto a 1000cc Kawasaki now after his super stock 600 days. But it's a Super Sport 600 that leads this one at the moment, ahead of John Ingram. Both of them into the 51s. They're certainly lap record territory. There's Mark Littler, number 47. Littler, a regular here at Mallory Park. He certainly contested the first season of GP1 class with ThundersportGB in 08. In fact, I remember a memorable race where Gary May fell in 08, and it was between Rob Ellesmere and Mark Littler for the race win before Mark just ran a bit wide on the exit of Clearways and ended up in a heap. So Mark is a face that everybody remembers in the Thundersport paddock. Luke Stapleford's lead here is being eaten into. The more powerful machine there of John Ingram is just closing in both of these riders. Well, Luke's certainly the younger of the two, but there's certainly no shortage of experience in either rider here. And John Ingram, who has been and won most of the rounds he's attended with Thundersport this year. There's Ben Scranage, number 11. Ben, who in that last race sadly lost the championship in the 1000cc Superstocks, and on that note we should congratulate the Night Road Racing team and Alex Heaton, who is the champion of 2012. But up the inside and taking the race lead here on circuit at Mallory, John Ingram ahead of Luke Stapleford. And Stapleford's got to bite back immediately if he wants a chance of winning this one. Ingram taking the defensive line into Shaw's hairpin. So it's Ingram on the Honda 1000, up ahead of the Kawasaki 600 of Luke Stapleford. And certainly once they get on the exit of Devil's Elbow, let's just see what sort of speed advantage John Ingram has got as they make their way down into Gerrards. There is the Superstock champion, just got a glimpse of him there, number 111, Alex Heaton. That's Richie McNeil, number 22, a rider out there on another 600. And you can see around the start-finish straight, Gerrards in the Stebby straight, just about a 10th or 2 maximum that John Ingram's managed to gain, although he has a bit of a wobble from the rear end on the exit of Ed Wieners. And this is the section now that Luke Stapleford can close in but not make a move, although John Ingram there very late on the brakes, and look at that. Luke Stapleford just closed right in on him on the Nimble 600, and Stapleford were able to get on the power so much earlier out of the bust up and around Devil's Elbow, but look at that on the start-finish straight, he's gone. There is number 3, it's Adrian Clark. Adrian in the top 5 or 6 of the championship all year long. Rider from Inverness on the Bob Henderson Racing Honda. But back to the front we go. They're the 2 leaders going through your picture, Ingram and Luke Stapleford. And then in the background, that's Mike Dickinson. Not really had a chance to get a glimpse of him. Mike, this is his last race. He hangs up his levers after this one. 25, 26 years of racing for the former South African Superbike champion, and this is the last one for him. He's going off, I think, abroad to put his feet up and have some fun. Just saw a quick glimpse there of Chris Barnes also having a good ride. Chris, rider that's finished in the top 3 of the Superstock 1000 Championship. There is Dickinson ahead of Littler, Crowe, and Dan Hegarty. Champion Peter Baker, I should just note, if you're wondering why he's lagging behind a bit in this race, he is still recovering from a collarbone injury sustained back at Anglesey. So he's done remarkably well to win the championship from here. First ever rider to win 2 GP1 titles, up against some stern competition this season. The leaders all filter through. Further back there, you can see Mike Dickinson, Hegarty, there is Mark Littler, and there's Ian Mackman, number 30, up ahead of Kyle Wilkes. Ian Mackman, the rider on the Kemtile Kawasaki, will be looking forward to another season next year. No doubt will enter the Manx again and the Isle of Man TT. And on to the start-finish straight we go, and that lead for John Ingram looks like, well, it looks as though he's got it in the bag, put it that way. Littler has been pushed down a place now. Ian Mackman has moved up a slot. And there is Peter Baker, the champion. It'd be nice to see him come back and defend that title again next year. A number of riders looking to enter this championship. And, well, since Baker's come into it, he's been a championship contender every year and he's won it twice. There is Luke Stapleford, number 81. Now involved in a bit of a lonely race, but not quite as lonely as the race leader here. Just backing the Honda into Shaw's hairpin there, John Ingram. He's making it look rather easy, isn't he? Through the bus stop chicane he goes, winds on the power. John Ingram, the Wigan rider, sees the last lap flag now. He's got pretty much a 7 or 8 second lead, so Luke Stapleford's just rolled off a bit. The pair of them pretty much identical lap times, 51.5. The lap record was a 51.5 held by Sam Lowes. And so these guys are right on that pace, 51.7 from Stapleford, a 51.62 from this man here on the Gadget Box Honda, John Ingram. Once again backing it into Shaw's hairpin, looking very relaxed, has a chance to look over his shoulder. Huge lead for him. Short shifts between Shaw's hairpin and the bus stop and around to face the checkered flag, the Ram. John Ingram wins again. He takes the glory here and a big wheelie at the end. He wins the Thundersport GP1 race ahead of Luke Stapleford. Ian Mackman takes 3rd overall, just beating Mike Dickinson to the line. And then it's Mark Littler in 5th and Peter Baker 6th. And there you see the 3 GP1 guys on the podium, Ingram, Stapleford and Ian Mackman. And it's Barnes, Shellcock and Scranage in the Superstocks.
Winner of the Superstock 1000 race, Chris Barnes. You must be chuffed with a win there.
Yeah, over the moon. Just dedicating this to Jim Stock. He passed away a few weeks ago and I tried my hardest obviously to put it on top step all weekend and managed to do it last round, so I'm happy about that. It's been me and Alex all season, apart from a few offs and concussions and a few blow-ups and things like that, but had a good season and looking forward to next year. So, just like to say a few thanks as well. Firstly to my wife and 3 children for coming everywhere with me, to Spain and all over the place and picking me up in hospital and all that carry on. And I'd also like to thank Tony Broom and his family for paying for the bike and paying for my tyres and bits and bobs all season. Couldn't have done it without you all even.
A brilliant win, well done.
Thank you.
And winner of the Thundersport GP1 class, John Ingram. Another trophy in your hands there.
It is. That was an absolutely fantastic race. I mean, I knocked half a second off my fastest ever time round here then. That's, you know, I'm really impressed with that. Luke pushed me, you know, at the beginning of that race, and that's where the lap times come from. The most important thing, I just want to get all my thank yous in. I'd like to thank Martin Lewins this weekend for doing a great job mechanicking for me. Lester Stacey of Gadget Box for all his help all year. Morello Services for all his help all year, he's been great, and the Pallet Brothers and anyone else that's helped me. It's been a brilliant year.
Well done on your win, thank you.
Thank you.